is the show the establishment warned you about.
And welcome back. This is Dr. Tommy Show live from Lutz, Florida, your Concierge Medicine morning show, brought to you by Atlas MD, which is the preeminent medical software for medical membership medicine practices across the nation. And if you'd like to learn more about Atlas MD, we encourage you to go to askdrtommy.com and click on special offer for Atlas MD, and then you can use Atlas MD for free for 60 days like we use every day. And this is the Dr. Tommy Show, which is based out of Tampa, and we like to cover everything that is of interest to us, and hopefully it's of interest to you. And right before we came on the air, I came across something that was of interest to me, because I just got finished talking to one of our new patients about it, about low-carb diets, which is usually it's one of the more popular diets because you can eat more than typical diets you think of as calorie restrictive. And a low carb diet is not calorie restrictive. It's actually, call it calorie liberal. You can do whatever you want with it, really. And this says this is a WFLA's website, 970 WFLA local Tampa station, says, study says cutting carbs could delay menopause 5 years. A new study says women who eat fewer carbohydrates can delay the start of menopause by as much as 5 years. Researchers in Britain found that women who regularly ate meat and fish went through menopause nearly a year later on average. Researchers studied 14,000 women over 4 years and found that those who ate large amounts of rice and pasta were at greatest risk for early menopause. Women who ate plenty of oily fish and beans. That sounds yummy, huh? Oily fish and beans began menopause nearly 5 years later than women who ate carb-rich diets. And this is a study published in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health.
Well, we just had a carb, well, it wasn't carb-free, but it was taco night kind of like at the house, but we did not do flour tortillas, which is what we usually would do, or crunchy tacos. Instead, we used lettuce.
It worked good.
Mm-hmm. It was very good.
Kaylee was looking for the flour tortillas, though.
Oh, Kaylee was looking through the bread basket.
I heard you say, well, we're going to use lettuce. And then she went in and she started looking for it. She's like, oh, yeah?
Not me. You guys can use lettuce. I'm going to use flour tortillas.
Yeah, she went immediately to the bread basket and started looking.
I'm like, sorry, Kaylee, but there's none in there. We're going to use lettuce. And she ate it and she liked it.
She loved it.
But
she loves her flour.
She does.
She loves her carbs.
Yes, she does. She loves her carbohydrates.
We had a new patient today. It took us extra long. That's why we're on a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But it takes us about 2 hours to see a new patient. We schedule 2 hours. Whether it takes 2 hours or not, we like to have the time because we don't like to be rushed, unlike your normal practice, which will get you in and out in 10 minutes or less, or your money's not back.
Mm-hmm.
We keep you in for 2 hours or block you for 2 hours.
Yeah, and this one ran over a little bit, 2.5 hours. But anyway,
one of our favorite listeners too is who it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, back to that. I was talking to her about the low carb diet because we were talking about she wants to lose weight, and she's not eligible for weight loss medication because of the BMI requirements. So she wanted to lose weight fast. And I said, well, I tell you, if you follow this diet, you will lose weight quick. I mean, you'll lose weight guaranteed. Whether it's fast or not, depends, but you're going to lose weight guaranteed. And that's the low carb, low sugar diet that Dr. Radley Griffin likes to talk about on his podcast that he does. And gave her the handout. But I told her, I said, you have to be prepared because for the first week, you will have a headache after you've done this severe carb restriction.
Mm-hmm. I have not. Well, I did do Atkins before in the past. It's been years ago, but I did lose 10 pounds in 1 week.
Do you remember having a headache?
No, but I do remember my sugar, having issues with my sugar, and I felt
weird.
I felt I had fatigue, and
Yeah,
my friend that was helping me with it was like, eat a good carb, something to get your sugar up a little bit, not a chocolate candy bar or anything. But anyway, I ate an apple, and it did help me, and that's what I would do. I'd eat a small apple for that. So
the theory behind low carb diets, if you're not familiar, is that your body runs on glucose and fat predominantly for energy. And if you have glucose in abundance, your body will use that preferentially and then store it if it's in excess. So if you drink a Coke, for instance, and your body doesn't need all that glucose, your body will store it. And it will store it as glycogen, which is a sugar molecule, and it'll also store it as fat. And it can only store so much glycogen. And so what you'll see is people who are eating lots of sugar become fat because their body stores it very efficiently. The other way is to burn fat for energy. And so your body, if you have fat, your body will use fat. So when you go on a low carb diet, your body's starved for glucose, relatively speaking. And then your body does what is called lipolysis. So it takes fat and takes it and turns it into energy in the form of ketone bodies.
I'm giggling because you're talking about this low carb diet. And I've just recalled that the patient this morning told me that it looked like you had lost weight.
Me?
Yeah, but it looked like my butt had got bigger.
Oh. Interesting.
I was like, well, thank you so much. Your hair looks grayer, by the way.
You look like you're, a little fatter too. But yeah, so if you burn ketones instead of glucose, then you'll be burning up your fat. So when you go into a low carb diet, your body doesn't have as much glucose to use. So then you use fat, turn it into ketones, and away you go. But back to my point is you will have a headache during that transition period. So beware, buyer beware. If anybody wants to have that recipe, email me and we'll send it out to you. Just go to the AskDrTommy.com, click on email at the bottom of the webpage. What else is there? I'm trying to see what else to talk about. There's so much stuff in the media. It's kind of...
I noticed that you printed out the thing about Miralax.
Yeah, so you want to go over that?
Well, Mike, Kaylee, actually Madison was on Miralax as a child and didn't have any problems, but Kaylee was on Miralax.
Parents warn popular over-the-counter medications sicken their children. This is from WRIC, and this was on the internets, on the interwebs, on NBC.
Yeah, and Kaylee had a bout of hypertension when
it's off-label use.
Well,
for children.
Yeah, I mean, I've really never read the label, and this shocks me that the label says 17. Not for use under 17 years old? Well,
the reason for that is the FDA requires that you study certain drugs in order to be approved in different...
Well, this article that you printed, this one child was having tics and tremors, and he was already developmentally delayed, apparently, but it worsened when he was on Miralax. Now, this child was taking the doctor recommended 5 capfuls a day. That seems to be... a little, that's extreme to me.
You're supposed to do one, right?
Just one capful. It's like 17 grams.
Yeah.
This child was, the gastroenterologist recommended 5 capfuls a day for a 2-year-old. At first, it was half a capful, but that seems ridiculous to me. Uncontrollable tics, throat clearing. Anyway, kind
of like Tourette's.
I know. Doesn't it sound like that? And anyway, they noticed a huge change in their grandchild.
When they stopped it.
Well, a huge change while she was taking the Miralax. And then, yes, after 5 years of taking Miralax, they took their child off. And even though there was still some, developmental delay, it wasn't as bad. The tremors and tics went away. And I know when Kaylee was on Miralax, I was complaining to my girlfriend, Jody, about Kaylee. Kaylee had to have, an echocardiogram and was going in for blood pressure checks, and she was running high. And my girlfriend had sent me an article back then because everyone says that Miralax is completely safe to take.
Yeah.
But she had sent me some other articles where parents were complaining about it causing hypertension. And then this new article was just, I think, printed today. So Miralax is not as safe as, one would think.
So this is potentially, yeah, because of what you said, and what this says here is that it can cause a problem. And there's actually a Facebook group called Parents Against Miralax. It has more than 25,000 members. These parents believe the drug's active ingredient, polyethylene glycol, or PEG 3350, is triggering the neuropsychiatric issues. It's a toxic substance, claims Kohler, who is one of the people that is against it. Mike Kohler of Wisconsin.
I mean, I will tell you though, it worked for Kaylee and it worked for Madison, and I did give it to her one time the other day I guess about a couple weeks ago. But yeah, we should just throw that bottle away that we have at home.
Why?
I don't know. It just seems like we shouldn't use it at all.
Well, people can use it older than 7. You've never had a problem with it.
Well, you can use it. I don't think I've ever used it. Or maybe I have. I don't know.
Need it. I don't need it. This is what Mike Kohler says. Our son started Miralax at age 4 back in 2009. Bradley, his son's Bradley. Bradley was on it for almost 5 years. During that time, Kohler says his little boy changed drastically and even developed seizures. He went from being a very normal child to a very abnormal child. All of a sudden, we were getting referrals to a psychiatrist. In the fine print of the label, Miralax and the generic are not recommended for children under 17, and the label limits use to 7 days. The pediatrician didn't tell me. The gastroenterologist didn't tell me. When it became a prescription and the insurance started to cover it, the pharmacist never told me. It's really troublesome. The medical community can just prescribe this drug like water on our children, Kohler added.
Well, I mean, I used it for both my girls, and I've never read the label either. I've only read the directions, which is usually a capful. So I had no idea that it was not intended for use under the age of 17.
Yeah, this is what Bayer says. Miralax is an FDA-approved over-the-counter laxative that treats occasional constipation, applies to individuals 17 years and older up to 7 days. Consumers are directed to ask doctor about longer use than 7 days or in children 16 years or younger. Well, it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it is. And you know, Kaylee, when I took her off the Miralax, she was taking it every day. Her hypertension went away.
Interesting. Who's sending children to college? We are.
We are in the next few months.
We are. And if you're sending your child to Texas, you think of Texas as the frontier, rugged individualism, used to be a republic, fought off the Mexicans in the Alamo, and just a model of, Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett and all those rugged guys. But there's a problem, too, with too much of that. And the University of Texas has a program that is dealing with masculinity, and it's toxic masculinity.
Uh-oh.
And this is from pjmedia.com, hat tip, blunt force truth podcast with Chuck Woolery. University of Texas to treat masculinity as a medical health issue. This is from PJ Media on April 27th. The Counseling and Mental Health Center at the University of Texas at Austin recently launched a new program to help male students, quote, take control over their gender identity and develop a healthy sense of masculinity. Treating masculinity as if it were a mental health crisis, masculinity, that's masculine with UT on the end, is organized by the school's counseling staff and most recently organized a poster series encouraging students to develop a, quote, healthy model of masculinity. The program is predicated on the critique of so-called restrictive masculinity. Men, the program argues, suffer when they are told to act like a man, or when they are encouraged to fulfill traditional gender roles such as being successful or the breadwinner.
What?
And there's a picture right there you're seeing if you're watching this on YouTube.
You know I'm masculine. I can wear makeup.
It's a man, boy, man. I think it's a boy or man in a outfit, and then over his outfit there is drawn in what looks like a dress with a big bow on it, and underneath it says, even though I'm masculine, I can wear makeup, and if I feel like it, wearing a dress, I can do that too, and it's totally fine.
And there's a club for this now, or is it a class?
No, this is a counseling center.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a program at the counseling center. Anyway, so just keep that in mind if you're going to UT, that there's a safe space for you if you are not the traditional alpha male that may be causing you to have distress. Don't worry. Go to UT, join the masculinity program, and then you'll feel safe. Just another thing. Another thing I was going to talk about was another thing having to do with college. Oh, it's talking about college is on campus. And I noticed this when I was at school, that if you're on campus, there's a pretty much, progressive tilt to the university faculty. And it's just something that you have to deal with and you have to be prepared for. But this is article that's on dailysignal.com, how few Republicans are on college faculties. It's talking about, where's the number here? There's something like a 50-to-1 ratio of quote unquote Democrats to Republicans in the faculty of the anthropology department.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Where is it? Maybe I printed the wrong article. Anyway, they were talking about the anthropology department of this college, and they said that there was a 50-to-1 ratio of Democrats to Republicans. So maybe there's one Republican. I don't know how many people in our anthropology department.
I think I know one person. We know one person, right? Becca.
Yeah. But if it gets back to, here it is. Engineering departments have a 1.6 for every Republican. Okay. Chemistry and economic departments have 5.5 Democrats for every Republican. The situation is especially bad in anthropology departments where the Democrat to Republican ratio is 133-to-1, and in communications departments, which is 108 to 0, which is infinity if you do that. What is it again?
What's the number?
That is in communication departments, 108 to 0. This is at the college is this, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, I didn't. Brooksdale Community College. Anyway, some college anyway. The article's here's how few Republicans are on college faculties, and this is dailysignal.com. Anyway, it's just an illustration of the point that there is a skewed persuasion of faculty members in college. But why is that important? Well, let's say that you want to develop a well-rounded child and you send your child to college. Do you want your child to be indoctrinated, or do you want your child to develop their own opinions?
Mm-hmm. Nico, I'll give you an example. Nico, he's at Santa Fe, and he's in a classroom, and they are constantly trying to get him to agree with same-sex marriage. And it's actually, I think it's I don't know what the class is called, but it's a marriage class that he's forced to take. And he doesn't say much in there because he feels like he cannot really give his opinion because he disagrees with the rest of the class. So instead of talking about it,
they're
not talking about it really.
They just shut him down.
Yeah. So same-sex marriage.
So this is an 18-year-old kid.
He's 19 now.
19-year-old kid. He's here going to college. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't you say, why don't we talk about different things? And instead of just saying, hey, you could show up with here's your talking points, basically. Start learning these. This is what, and that's not what college is about. Yeah,
well, I mean, he's like, why can't we talk about all, man and woman marriage? And then, of course, I'm sure if you want to talk about same-sex marriage as well, but he says they focus so much on same-sex marriage, and he doesn't necessarily believe in that, and that's fine. Everyone has their own beliefs. But, he doesn't feel comfortable being able to discuss his opinion.
This is on college campus.
This is in college campus, yes.
So if you're sending your kid off to college and you think they're just going to develop their own way of thinking and they're going to grow, it's not necessarily true. So you have to be careful if you're sending your kids off to college that you make sure you prepare them to say, look, this is the way it is. You have to develop your own thoughts on it.
That's right.
You have to explore, and there is a time in people's lives, believe it or not, where they actually change the way they think. Mm-hmm. And so it's not meant to be a place where you just go and get this rigid indoctrination, and then suddenly if you go beyond that, then you get shouted down. But that's what goes on college campuses. You see the videos that we see?
Yes.
These totalitarian type children. Mm-hmm. And what does that lead to? Well, the Dr. Orient, this is an article from WorldNet Daily. This is from Dr. Jane Orient, who is the executive director of the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons. And this is from May 2018. It says, the totalitarian side to a, quote, right to health care. Dr. Orient writes, a right to health care is a seductive idea many Americans accept without thinking, but we need to take a closer look at what this means. The total program being pushed by the right to health care cheerleaders, primarily Democrats, is full of mandates. Mm-hmm. A mandate means that you have no right to opt out, except possibly through some limited exceptions. It starts with controlling the money, but increasingly involves your body, the treatments you may receive, the ones you may not have, the ones you must take, especially vaccines. And she goes through a list. It says, it's little known news that seniors have no right to turn down Medicare Part A unless they forego all Social Security benefits.
Oh, yeah, how is that right?
Yeah. So if you want if you want to have Social Security,
the money that you paid in,
supposedly,
that they're saving for you in this tiny little bank account.
Now, if you want to get that, then you have to also accept Medicare Part A.
Right. And that's why one of our patients who's 70 years old
says forget it.
Doesn't have he's not getting either right now.
He'd prefer to stay working. Okay. Under the Affordable Care Act, Americans have no right to opt out of costly minimum essential benefits or buy a low-cost catastrophic only plan. A patient enrolled in Medicaid has no right to choose how to use his benefit. Insured patients and managed care enrollees have no right to go outside of their network without facing a financial penalty. So this is something where, you could go on campus and they say, well, look, you're in the health class now. We're going to talk about healthcare. And then someone says, well, I don't think healthcare is a right. Then potentially they'd be shouted down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like Nico. He says he is just trying to get through the class without saying anything because it's easier. They're not going to be able to change his mind, but I know that a lot of kids, you potentially could change their mind, of course. But he's just like, I just want to get through this class and get it over with.
And that's sad because, like I said, he's a 19-year-old kid. What is the right of these bully faculty members to bully him into thinking a certain way, or when he tries to offer opinion that's different from them, for them to then join the what sounds like the majority, or maybe it's a quiet majority. Maybe there isn't a majority. Maybe the others are just too fearful to say anything. That happens too.
Yeah.
And that is the ultimate.
Well, imagine if you're in a classroom of, let's say, 40 people, and 38 people feel differently than you. Yeah. The two.
And imagine for now that it's not about same-sex marriage. Imagine it's about maybe healthcare, and maybe you choose to say, I want to pay a doctor directly. And someone says, well, if you pay a doctor directly, then you're getting out of the right to healthcare movement. Well, what's the right to healthcare movement? Well, that movement is that we all have a right to healthcare, and the government's going to assign us a provider, and we're not going to have to pay for it. Well, I don't want that. I would rather just pay for my own. Well, then you're against the rights to healthcare. Who are you? You're a bigot. That means you want poor people to die, and you want to just choose your own doctor. What do you think you are?
It's funny. Isn't it strange how they can go and twist your words around and make you think differently, or not think differently, but you're like, no, those were not my intentions.
It's a straw man argument. That's if you're ever facing someone and they take so it's like, say, look, I think we should have steak for dinner tonight, and then you say, well, I don't think we should have steak. We should have salad. I said, well, I like steak. Oh, so you're saying that animals should just be killed for no reason and just served to you whenever you want? No, I just said I want steak. No, that's what you're saying when you say you want steak. That's a straw man argument. And that's a popular thing, because what they usually do is they'll inject something that seems so outlandish but easy to force most people to agree on. It's like saying, I think that there should be people should be able to choose to go to see a concierge medicine doctor if they want. Oh, so you're saying that only the rich people should have health care? No, I said that people should be able to choose to go to concierge medicine if they want. Oh, but that's what you're saying. Concierge medicine's only for the rich. And then before you know it, they're 10 miles down the road running their mouth.
Yes, I pretty much keep my mouth shut. I've been into arguments with people that, I say one thing and they are saying that, no, what you're saying is this. And you know what? It ended up gets to where they're name calling. Yeah. And they're aggressive.
So the first thing that'll happen if someone's got an argument and they're not skilled at using their own facts or whatever, or they can't form their opinion well, first one, straw man, boom. So you got your cards. You're like, let's have an argument. And then they have an argument that, you're trying to argue against. So you throw down the straw man card. You play that one for a little bit. And then that one gets played out and you're on to the next hand. You're like, okay, now I'm going to throw down the ad hominem attack.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're just a racist then. Oh, see that? Then the other player is like, oh, man, got no cards to play against this, because they just keep throwing them. Boom.
Yeah, they
boom,
want
boom.
you to think just like them. They want everyone to have the same opinion, the same feelings, the same values, everything the same. And if you disagree, watch out.
Back to that. Did you hear about the controversy with Kanye West? Did you know? You probably didn't even know anything about this.
I don't know.
So Kanye West apparently came out and said that he is not anti-Trump. Not only is he anti-Trump, but some of the things that Trump says he agrees with.
I do know about that because he took a picture with Trump recently, right?
I don't know.
I did see the picture of him and Trump together where he said he was a Trump supporter.
But he has been vilified now in the quote-unquote...
Because they'd prefer him to hate him.
Yes, in the quote-unquote media or whoever, celebrity establishment. He has been vilified now as a sellout. Because in their mind, Trump is bad if you are what they call black or brown person. So they like to lump everybody together based on their skin color. I don't know what color I'd be. Maybe I'm included. I don't know. Anyway,
you're kind of more towards a darky.
Yes, maybe that's, I'm a part of the people who should be. Mm-hmm. So anyway, black or brown, Kanye says, I think Trump is okay, maybe. And boy, they just ran him through the ringer.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a little bit of that, yeah.
So it's just one of those things that we're dealing with now. That's about it. We covered the majority of what I want to talk about. This week, we're also got a new ad. I didn't show it. Maybe I should show it. I'll show it next week.
Can you pull it up?
I can't pull it up right now. Okay. Anyway, we're doing we did a new ad because of the Concierge medicine program that we have for businesses. And it basically is to allow local businesses here to utilize our services, which include our membership medicine, but also discounted labs, discounted medications, and then convenience of offering insurance-free medical care without waits. And if you're interested in learning more about that, go to tampadirectcare.com and click on business plans, and you'll be able to see what we have to offer. And that's for local businesses. The song of the week this week is from The Firm, which is a group that was made by Paul Rogers of Bad Company, Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin, Chris Slade, who later played with Asia and a few other groups, and Tony Franklin, who's a session musician bassist. And this is called Satisfaction Guaranteed from 1985. If you'd like to learn more about our practice, go to tampadirectcare.com. Go to AskDrTommy.com for more Dr. Tommy stuff. And then also subscribe on YouTube and iTunes and click the bell if you want to be notified on YouTube. And until next time, bye-bye.
Mystery surrounds me, and I wonder where I'm going. There's a cloud above me, and it seems to hide the way. I'm going straight ahead, 'cause it's the only way I know. I want to leave the past and live just for today. Now then, tell me, baby, do you need my love? Tell me, baby, are you thinking of me? Tell me, baby, what it is you need. What kind of satisfaction guarantee? Sitting in the gutter with my head wrapped in my hands. I've been drinking all night and I just can't stand the pain. It took an awful lot of trouble just to make me understand. Now it's clear to me, but will it ever be the same? Now then, tell me, baby, do you need my love? Tell me, baby, are you thinking of me? Tell me, baby, what it is you need. What kind of satisfaction guarantee? Satisfaction guarantee. Hit upon the high